Time for action.
Well, the radio was on.
I've been waiting all day.
It's go time.
That's the big thing today, radio.
Getting restless?
Speak into the microphone, Squid Brain.
Let's start the show.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst. Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's space aliens.
It is the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7. Live stream is up on Facebook and YouTube. This hour, we've got a couple of in-studio guests, Mike and Stephanie Grable. How are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Great, Todd. Thank you.
Well, of course, I'm glad to have you here on the show, and thank you for the big box of Carly's cookies. Holy cow.
She does it right.
Delicious.
Oh, my
She's
gosh.
downtown Lebanon.
Oh, they look good. They look great. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But Mike and Stephanie are here because of the Dayton UFO Festival that's going to be happening on Saturday, July 11th, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's one day, and I love this flyer. This is a great flyer. Real discussions, unexplained possibilities. But I was telling you guys off the air 100% that, this is long overdue. Now, last year there was the first Fairborn UFO Conference, and that was a great start. And that was done by Bill and Dave, the late Bill. I called him UFO Bill here on the show. And that was a great start. But you guys have sort of taken it. Bill has passed. And you've taken this, and we're taking it to the next level. And now it's not just the Fairborn, it's the Dayton UFO Conference. So let's talk about, and you're going to talk about a number of things, by the way, tonight, okay, whether you like it or not. No, we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about disclosure and citizens' disclosure and the public information that has been, you folks and many others believe, has been withheld. And there's a huge movement going on right now. Things are being revealed, files are being released. And of course, we can't forget the Steven Spielberg movie this summer, Disclosure, or right. Day of Disclosure Day. Yeah, there it is. There it is. You ever think that this is all just big one marketing scheme for the movie?
People brought that up.
Spielberg has that kind of juice.
He does.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get into all that, let's hit the basics here. Let's talk about this really cool event. I went last year, and it was a lot of fun. You had lots of vendors out there. You had some UFO experts. But from what I'm seeing, and I follow you guys on Facebook, and I would encourage everybody to do that as well. If you're interested in this kind of thing, even if it's just sort of passing interest,
even if you're not interested.
Well, right. Just follow it anyway. Right. But you've got some big time guests coming on, folks that I've heard on Coast to Coast, folks that I know have been talking about this, not just here statewide, but or stateside, but around the world. Yeah. Yes. So let's talk about that. Who's coming?
Okay. Well, our keynote speaker is Danny Sheehan. So he's one of the spears, or tip of the spears for disclosure.
Okay.
He is a constitutional attorney, was involved with Stephen Greer's disclosure project all the way back in the 90s. And he is involved in helping to write legislation for transparency from the Congress.
Whistleblower protection.
Yeah, the whistleblower protection.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is one of the tips of the spear. He's all over kind of the world, and he will be our keynote speaker.
He also represented Lou Elizondo.
He represented Lou Elizondo. He represented Dr. John Mack, who was back. He's was at Harvard as well. Danny's Harvard Law School.
Let me ask you this: when you throw out some of these names, if you know a little bit of their background or how they're sort of connected to the UFO story, include that, because I don't know a lot of these names, and I know many of my listeners aren't going to know. Folks in your circle, I know that guy. That guy owes me money. But maybe, when you do that, just let us know who that might be.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know how deep into the weeds.
Oh, that's okay.
We could get real deep.
It would just like to know what their background is, like what, did they have an experience? Were they on a government agency? That kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. So Danny Sheehan, he's the head of New Paradigm Institute and Citizens for Disclosure, with whom we're involved.
Okay.
President Carter, or President-elect Jimmy Carter, had an experience back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And when he was elected president, he wanted to know what the intelligence, the military, and the U.S. government knew about UFOs. And so his cabinet reached out to Danny Sheehan, who was involved he was still involved at Harvard and involved, on some major cases. So they kind of hired Danny, or asked Danny to go do some digging. And Danny went down to the basement and looked through some Project Blue Book files.
I remember that show. Oh my God, I love that show.
And Project Blue Book was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and it was mothballed in 1969. But anyway, Danny went through some files and saw photos of crashed UFOs and military folks taking photos and films of them. So he was convinced, and whatever it was, 76.
Yeah.
He saw the classified photos, and he was all in. From that point.
He's your keynote.
He's a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So I mean, he's currently involved in legislation for the disclosure.
Sure. Who else do we have coming?
Yeah. So we have Ray Shemansky, who is a local Dayton resident. He is a retiree from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, 38 years as an engineer behind the fence.
Oh, wow.
He's got some stories.
I was going to say he's seen some lights.
He has some stories, and he has written 3 books about UFOs. He's done his own research. And he's spoken internationally.
So I love that it's a local, local guy. It's
Yes.
not just all
got
these,
a couple
it's people that are, that have an intimate relationship with the area, right? They know. Yeah.
Yes. We thought that was important.
Sure.
Especially, the conference is right down the street from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah.
So that, that's key.
Yeah. People don't know Dayton. They know Wright-Pat.
Right. They do. Yeah. Especially in the UFO community, because that's the story, is the Roswell crash. Again, if you believe all these things, that craft was brought here to
in the beings
hangar 18. And I asked the question, there's that poster over there on the wall. What's in that hangar anyway?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ray Zemansky will
Tell us.
We'll probably try to address that.
Yeah.
We also have Donald Schmidt, who has written almost a dozen books on the Roswell incident. So he obviously has been, inextricably linked to Wright-Patterson, and he has done he has done a little bit of a dive into Wright-Patterson, but he is more of the Roswell expert. So he's coming from out of town. He has spoken internationally. Then we have, Tom Wertman, who was there last year. He is the director of MUFON, Mutual
I met him.
UFO Network. Yep. And so he is the Ohio director. So he has investigated UFO cases in our state and in the region for years. So he'll tell a few stories, and he is also our MC. Jeffrey Wilson he's an Ohio person. He is an expert on crop circles and
it's not exactly what you think.
Crop circles and the Serpent Mound.
Okay, so it's not farmers out there with their drunk buddies walking around.
Well, they see things too. They're legit.
Some of them are those.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey will be speaking. We're excited to have him.
Ashley
Hilt. She is a local Dayton resident. She was there last year, and she has done her own research. She's did a deep dive into Mothman.
I remember.
Yeah.
I sat in one of her presentations. Yeah,
okay,
I saw that.
So she'll be speaking about Mothman and the connection with Men in Black.
And then Linda Haley.
And then Linda Haley is an experiencer. She's had contact with non-terrestrial beings. She's written a book, and she will be running our experiencer forum. So we're going to open doors to a smaller room for people who have had experiences but are afraid to talk. Can't talk to about it with their family or friends.
Yeah, and she runs a Reiki center,
and she runs the Reiki
Columbus.
Center in Columbus. Yes.
Okay.
So she's very experienced.
So did I get them all, Danny?
Well, you hit a lot.
Yeah.
You hit a lot. I mean, that's a lot to whet everybody's appetite. So, Well, that's amazing. And now, so not just with these speakers, you're also you're going to have vendors, and I'm sure you've got people returning. You're still looking for vendors, right?
Yes. Before we move on from the speakers,
Sure.
the event actually starts Friday evening.
Okay.
So we have a VIP meet and greet reception.
Oh, nice.
We're only selling 25 tickets total. We only have a handful left. So that will happen at the hotel from 7 to 9 Friday evening.
Oh, that's cool.
And all of the speakers so far have committed to participating in that.
So appetizers are included. There's going to be a cash bar, and they're
Yes.
reserving that area for us. So it should be a really
Nice.
intimate time where you have connection. You have time to speak to all these
Right.
speakers and really engage.
Wanted to make sure we throw that out. So,
Oh,
so
that's-
yes, the
yeah.
conference is all day Saturday, but Friday evening it actually starts with our private reception with speakers. So we're
Sure,
excited about that.
sure. Yeah. So you're going to have the vendors there.
Yes,
Yep.
we will have multiple more vendors than last year. So to go back a little bit, we are in the large side of the hotel conference center this year.
That's great.
So our conference room is bigger. We actually have access to 4 conference rooms. So we have the main ballroom as going to be our main event,
right.
and we can seat almost up to 400 people.
That's amazing. Because
Yeah.
last year it was a little smaller scale.
Yes.
And it was a little tight and crowded, but it's great that you guys were able to get that taken care of.
Yes, we're excited about
That's
that.
awesome.
We do have some vendor tables and booths available as well.
Okay. All right.
So-
And Stephanie, you were telling me that you were encouraging people to dress up in costume, right?
No, I said
No.
for the.
Oh, I thought we were.
No. When we were talking about the festival,
Well,
and maybe Fairborn having a festival.
Oh, I
I
see.
was just saying
Okay.
in other conferences like Contact in the Desert. That's what they do. But
Yeah.
they're
well, but if somebody
tens of
comes
thousands of
dressed
people.
up, you're not going to
oh
turn
my
them
gosh,
away.
by all means.
That
No,
would
that's
be
fantastic.
awesome. Yes.
We would love it.
Get your antennae out
But
of
we
here.
are having a car decorating contest
Oh.
out front.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
they
That's
could
cool.
come,
Yeah.
in their
Mhm. To
Their
match the
costume
vehicle.
as
Match their
well.
vehicle. All right. Well, you guys are going to be here for the hour, so hang tight. We also have a pair of tickets to give away to the event,
we do.
and if we can open up the phones. If somebody has an experience, maybe they'd like to share. Would you be willing to listen and talk to them?
We would love to.
Sure, we'd love to talk. We're not experts.
No,
on-
I understand.
No,
but-
I understand.
yeah, we love.
We're
we
non-judgmental
love to hear
and
everyone's story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the wonderful things about this topic.
So if you've got a story or something you want to share, 937-957-1290.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst.
I love this show.
It's fun to listen to.
Locally grown.
Here in Dayton,
Seriously funny.
He's a crackpot with wild ideas.
I'm puzzled by the whole thing.
On WHIO.
All right, our mics are on. I always like giving everybody a heads up. Your
Yeah,
mics
thank
are
you.
on. Well, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Are
we,
you doing the disc golf thing? Did you?
we tried,
Yeah.
and the later date in July just didn't work for the group that
Oh,
ran
okay.
it.
we just found out not just a few months ago that this wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it was
Because of
late
Bill's
February,
health.
early March.
So,
Mhm.
it just broke our heart thinking that we were going to lose momentum and this may not happen again. So, we just jumped in.
Right. Well,
we got to keep this going.
I agree 100%. I agree.
And it's amazing, like you said, that nothing has ever been even thought about, in terms of a conference or festival.
The biggest story, one of the biggest stories, Roswell, leads here.
Yeah,
It leads here.
Right.
You know?
in the biggest story on the planet. Now there have been some others that have come up. Brazil, Virginia, Brazil, where there are witnesses actually still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of surpassed Roswell as.
But you know what I told Bill and Dave when we first talked and I met them is that, I've seen what they do out in Roswell as far as a UFO festival, and that's great and all. But people from Dayton, most people are not going to be driving to Roswell for an event like that. And there's nothing really like that in the Midwest.
Absolutely. That's why we're trying to call ourselves the
Right.
Roswell of the Midwest.
Right. and that's the key. I mean, it would just be.
And we are trying to take this into a more serious path.
No, and I totally agree with that. And with the base being here, not just from the scientific side of it and its connection to Roswell, but even people that might be interested in that sort of thing coming here. You've got the Air Force Museum.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's
incredible.
I would imagine that for a lot of those people, there's a crossover there. It's like they love aviation, they love, or are interested in the subject. So
yeah, it's my kids grew up going to the Air Force Museum.
It's
something to behold.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Linda's email address.
Did you get it?
No, we can guide them
Reiki
to the Reiki Center.
Okay.
Yes, and they can find her email address.
I don't have anybody on hold right now. I don't know what they called for. They
Okay.
probably might have been traffic or something.
How were you thinking about the tickets? How were you thinking about giving away the tickets?
Oh, I would let me think here. We could actually just do it. We could do it in this next segment. I could just mention, hey, they've got a couple of pair of tickets to give away, and if you'd like to go, and you can hit all those when it is the whole deal, because again, this is a short segment. So,
Okay.
But I'll just follow my lead.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Ian, we're going to give away a pair of tickets for this event, but it's not in Be Creative. This is kind of on the fly. So if you could just write down, these are e-tickets, right?
They're just will call.
Okay.
We'll get their name.
Just
and
get name,
email.
phone number,
names.
an email address for me, and I'll take care of it. Have you seen this recent story? You mentioned Men in Black. There was some guy, a philosopher and novelist, who was on a podcast who says that, Army veteran Lynn Buchanan told him the CIA had allegedly explored using genealogy websites as 23andMe and Ancestry to identify people with supposed genetic markers linked to extraterrestrials.
Yes. Jason Giorgiani, I think, is the one that made the statement.
Yeah.
He's got some fantastic ideas.
Yeah.
And all the scientists that have been missing, disappearing. Yeah. But that's just the handful. There's more where that came from.
All right, here we go.
At 6:30. Now back to the Evening Edge with Todd Holst on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
It really is a lot of fun. It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst. Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7. Live stream is up on Facebook and YouTube. I have a couple of guests on the show this hour. We've got Mike and Stephanie Grable. They are the force behind the Dayton UFO Conference. It's going to be happening on July 11th. That's Saturday. from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. There is an event the night before, a VIP event. You can get more details on their Facebook page for that event. Also, there's tickets available on Eventbrite, right, Mike?
With more details.
Yeah, with all
Eventbrite,
more
yes.
details. And it's also linked on my page. So if you sometimes fumble around Facebook and you don't know what you're doing, you can go to my page and you'll see a link to it. And we've got a pair of tickets to give away.
We do.
Yes, we'd love
Right.
to give away a pair of tickets to 2 of your listeners.
Awesome. So if you'd like to go to this event, and like I said, I went last year and it was a great first year. This year's going to be even bigger and better. Be the 6th caller at 937-957-1290. And you'll talk to Ian and we'll hook you up with those tickets. A little hard to talk. These cookies are from Carly's Cookie Company. I wasn't expecting this. I told you off the air on Wednesdays, we do Wing It Wednesday. And I always go out there and I expect to see somebody outside the front door with a bag of wings. I wasn't expecting to see you guys with a big bag or a big box of cookies. I mean, that's crazy. So
Yes.
thank you.
Carly is she makes addictive cookies.
Yeah. All right. When we come back after the news, I've got a couple of questions about how you got into this and how what triggered your interest. Did you have an experience or what was it? So stick around. We'll be talking to Mike and Stephanie Grable from the Dayton UFO Conference here on the Evening Edge.
What am I listening to now?
What is this? It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst.
It's education, it's entertainment, it's fun for the entire family, and it is the most American thing in all of America.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
All right. I'll wait.
Why?
I was going to eat another one.
Well, why wait?
Well, okay.
She has one. It's kind of like everything but the kitchen sink, and she was out of them tonight or today. But those are my favorite. But
Like there's walnut in there.
And you know what? She is as good of a person as her cookies are good. I mean, she's a phenomenal human being. We
That's
love
awesome.
her. Yeah. She doesn't treat anybody like a stranger. Doesn't that distract you, having that on?
Oh, the new? Not
Yeah.
really. Not really.
I guess, yeah, you're used to it.
Well, I
Keep
like
looking up
watch
there.
during the local, the 90 minutes of news, 5 to 6:30, because if I see something breaking, then I can always divert.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what it is, I also like to see what stories they're doing in comparison to what I pick, like for my show. And it's just sometimes
Yeah, how do you pick and choose?
excuse me while I was
Oh, go
cooking.
ahead.
So because I don't do a political show,
Mhm.
and I mean, I'll talk about serious things, but it's more just fun and nonsense. The show's really kind of built around my reaction to whatever might be happening, whether it's the news, whether it's a caller, whatever it might be. It's just kind of my reaction is what makes the show. So when I go through my news every day, I get tons of emails, like Google news alerts. Like I set up all these different categories. Like I do a feature Florida man, crazy Florida man stories. So I just have Florida man arrested. And every day I'll get like 20 emails or 20 different stories in one email that talks about Florida man being arrested. Now, some of the Florida man arrests they're not anything I would talk about, like legitimate crimes. But when I get a Florida man arrest where a guy tries to break into an alligator petting zoo, and fights an alligator, then of course that's going to be on the show. So that's kind of the way I look at things. Like today, I had a story. I don't know if you were listening on your way in, but
We were.
you were.
We
But
were,
then
but
Dave called.
actually,
Dave
Dave called us.
McWhorter.
He was all excited about us coming on tonight, so we missed the middle segment probably.
Yeah, he said he was going to get everyone at UFO 101
to watch. Yeah, but
I had a story about some guys that were arrested street racing down at Paycor Stadium.
we heard the first part of that story, yes, but we didn't hear the whole thing about their names.
Yeah, and I said, you know, I'm not making fun of anybody's nationality. People are named what they're named. That's just the way it goes. But what made me laugh was imagining all of the news anchors trying to pronounce these names. Timur Nurmatov, Medina Esanova, Bekadillo Kamidilla Avi, Dilamurad Nurmatov, I think they're brothers, him and Timur. Ajamajan Valevi. Momtazakun Zaburova.
Yeah, that's probably like John here.
Probably. What we
John
have is
Smith.
Peter, Gary, Bob.
Right.
But it was just, but see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like that was, I just saw that and that's how I reacted to it. So I've been
See,
doing it
that's so
long enough that
refreshing.
even if the stories are a little goofy or weird, you know, I don't mean it egotistically, but people are listening for me. They're not listening for me to do this story.
Yeah.
They're just listening for me to do something and respond to it or react to it. So
Now, did you see someone cover that on the news and they avoided the names completely?
no, I just
Or
saw
is that-
I saw the story on WHIO.com.
Okay.
And then when I did the story, I made a joke about the main anchor on.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, James Brown. I said this, like, he's a stud and he's great, but I can tell you he's not going to try to touch these names. Well, during the commercial break, I'm sitting here watching the news, Channel 7, and they do this story. And I pop it in queue so I can hear what they're saying. They don't mention any of the names. They just say 8 men were arrested. Like, see, I at least I fell on the sword for us all. But that's just kind of what my show is.
But they wouldn't expect any less.
Right. Right. Somebody asked me to ask you about Carl Day. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think you guys would know. Carl Day was a longtime news anchor here in Dayton who did some sort of investigation years ago.
That does ring a bell.
Hangar 18, but I don't really know the story.
And maybe you told me Carl Day.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, someone has told me about Carl Day, and I don't remember the specifics, but that name does ring a bell now that you tell me that.
But they can get on our Facebook page and let us know.
Yeah, share it.
Something.
Yeah. We're also on Instagram, and all three of the socials are Dayton UFO Conference.
Okay, yeah.
So is this back in the 60s? You think?
When Carl Day was doing the research, I can't remember.
What's that?
Carl Day. We're trying to remember when he was doing his research. He
was a news anchor, and he worked for a while. He was here at 7, and then I think he was at 2 or 22. I forget. 22, I think. Channel 22. But he was here like through the 60s, 70s, 80s. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Radio station, WHIO.
Depend on it.
Don't hesitate to call.
You call me? You better call me. Damn it, get me a phone.
Call me on my radio.
I'm gonna call you.
You got him on the radio?
You won't make a simple phone call?
What is wrong with you?
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst. Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
I'm not saying it's space aliens, right? But it goes without saying it's space aliens.
Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7. Live stream on Facebook and YouTube. We're talking about the Dayton UFO Conference coming up Saturday, July 11th at the Doubletree by Hilton Dayton Fairborn Conference Center. And tickets are available at Eventbrite. You can get more details. They're on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Where else did you say, Mike?
Eventbrite.
Oh,
Facebook
Eventbrite. Okay.
and Instagram.
There you go. That's Mike Grable. Next to him is Stephanie Grable. They're on the live stream tonight. Here talking about this. So we've talked about the Dayton UFO Conference, the origins of it, all the great guests that are going to be there, the folks that are coming in to speak. But I'm always curious when I meet somebody like you and you folks who are doing this, like what inspired you? Because here's the thing, and I've talked about this on my show a lot, and I know you're kind of new to my show. We just met for the first time tonight. We've talked on the phone a few times, but when I was growing up, there was a book in the library at Maine Elementary. It was about Bigfoot, and I saw a movie when I was a kid about it was Sasquatch, the Legend of Bigfoot, and it was this great movie I saw. A little hokey, but it was a great movie I remember seeing on a Saturday afternoon when I was a kid and just becoming fascinated. And that's how I sort of became interested in Bigfoot. And I talk about him on the show or talk about it. I'm sort of on the fence, and I admit that I'm kind of on the fence on the whole thing, but I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy hearing from the people who are researching it. I had folks from the Expedition Bigfoot on my show a couple of weeks ago when they were in town down at Victoria Theater. So I'm very open-minded to it and, the whole exploration of it. So when it comes to the UFOs and Citizens for Disclosure, how did you guys get involved in this? Did you have an experience, or is it just something that you were, just kind of interested in?
Well, something happened when I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and it wasn't, I don't know what it was. It was a big round red light that shot across the street at midnight on Christmas Eve. And of course I knew it was Rudolph, 7 years old. That is Santa Claus and Rudolph.
There's Santa.
So decades later, I love history.
Yeah.
And I was just going down the ancient civilization rabbit hole. And just, thinking how much of our history is incorrect and we haven't been given the correct history, or it's been hidden from us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's enormous giant skeletons that, you could go down this path forever.
Sure.
So just really thinking about how many times we've recycled, almost been depleted through some cataclysmic event. How many times has this happened? So just going down there and just seeing the ancient, researching the ancient cave paintings and writings of the Sumerians. So I was so interested in this and listening to actually on Joe Rogan. He had Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson. And it was like a 4-hour,
marathon
podcast. Yeah, it was fascinating. So come to find out, they're having this first and only cosmic summit, and they were having all these experts in North Carolina. So Mike and I went, and he wasn't that interested at the time. So listening to all these panelists and the different, and it was archaeology, it was astronomy, it was UFOs. It was a little bit of everything.
Sure.
We had physics professors there. So it was just listening to conversations. I never took it that seriously until opening my mind up a little bit.
Gotcha.
And that is pretty much what got me into it, was the Cosmic Summit. And that was maybe 5 years ago.
Okay. So, Mike, it was your beautiful wife that kind of convinced you to become interested in the UFOs.
Well, I was on my own personal kind of search for truth.
Okay.
Maybe more through religion and ancient texts.
Okay.
But I was looking over her shoulder at the ancient civilization issues and listening to the podcasts she was listening to. And that's kind of the amazing thing, is that search, those parallels began to kind of lead me to the extraterrestrial, like what were the Nephilim that's mentioned in the Bible, in the Old Testament quickly. And he just started broadening my mind, and I kept asking the next question, and asking the next question took me down some rabbit holes. that did eventually lead to the potential for extraterrestrial being interacting with us and the Earth
Sure.
for a long time.
Right.
And then once you do a deep dive, then you start getting into the cover up that the government and our intelligence agencies and the deep state, or
for 80 years,
however you want to label them.
Yeah.
And then that kind of invigorates your passion. You say, wait, what? All this information is out there, all this testimony is out there, and it's being suppressed from us.
And that's how we found Danny Sheehan.
Yes. So it was kind of a mixture of doing the deep dives for personal truth seeking,
right,
Yeah.
right,
and starting to bump up against the cover up and the suppression of information, systemic, whatever word you want to use, from by and from our government.
And that's how you fell into Citizens for Disclosure.
Yep.
And that really sort of became your focus. And I think from the first time you and I talked, the way I sort of gleaned the information was that's where you were. And then this whole idea of a UFO conference was kind of not out of the blue, but I mean, this was something that just, that wasn't your goal was your first goal was not let's do a UFO event, right? It was something else, right?
Well, we tabled the event. We had a table there last year just to get the word out.
Representing Citizens for Disclosure.
Right.
So we've tabled several events in the region. UFO, MUFON.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Fairborn last year. We did Loveland Frogman Festival. So we were just tabling, getting the word out, doing our grassroots effort.
Yeah.
Which is what Citizens for Disclosure is, building grassroots, and then, working with our elected representatives in Washington, D.C. to educate them and to get them familiar with the topic.
Yeah.
Well, and we got to know the people who put on the conference last year, and then found out it was not going to happen in as Stephanie said earlier off the air. We were saddened to think that the Dayton region and the subject matter was not going to have a conference in this area.
Right. So, and that's when you stepped in and said, hey, we want to do something about this.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
So on the subject of disclosure, at one time the notion was, and I was sort of in that sort of arena where I thought, you hear these stories and you see these shows and you're like, okay, all right, blah, blah, blah. But now it doesn't seem as far-fetched. I don't know that there are aliens among us. That might be a little far for me, but I certainly know and understand the experts that have been on over the last couple of years who are, fighter pilots and professional scientists and people who had experiences and saw things. And, oh, by the way, here's all these videos of these UAPs that nobody can explain, that nobody has any idea where they came from. And suddenly it's not as crazy as it once maybe sounded, right?
Yeah, and I think it's important to be a healthy skeptic. To look at this in a, with the science, but we obviously don't know the science, what Lockheed Martin doing, or, Northrop Grumman, what they have behind the scenes. But at the same time, it's very important to allow some space for what we don't know.
Right.
For the unexplained, because what's unexplainable now may be in the future, or it may not be. It may be science. It may not be. So it's important to be, I think, come at this with an open mind, and also be a healthy skeptic.
Right.
I would also add, Todd, and you make a good point, that you're becoming more and more comfortable with the idea, right? That's because no one has talked about UFOs,
right?
And actually, it was a policy by the CIA to make fun of people who talked about UFOs. It's called the Robertson Panel, and it literally became their policy to demean people who came out in public. They wanted to criticize it and actually ridicule, right? Stigmatize,
right?
So, and they did a really good job. They did that for the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So that's what disclosure really is. We're trying to accomplish is to get rid of the snicker factor,
right,
and the smirk and the eye rolling factor, so that it can at least now we can talk about it and we can become, more open to the idea.
Sure.
Because a lot of people have high conviction that there are extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
There have been crash retrieved UFOs, and we are back reverse engineering this technology. It's that information has been suppressed through the mainstream media and through our entire society.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a foreign topic for all of us.
Pop on your headphones. We got a call. Okay,
great.
Let's see. We've got let you guys get plugged in there. We got Barry in Miamisburg. Hey, Barry, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. I just wanted to bring up that they're lucky to be in this area for that conference. There are a lot of people who grew up around here who have known pilots and engineers who absolutely would not be surprised if a UFO landed at the airport today.
Huh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't feel as though they can talk about it.
Called foreign technology. You ran a commercial about half an hour ago for Carillon Park. I knew a guy who worked on that code-breaking computer and has a couple of patents in computer technology with hard drives and things like that. And yeah, there were things they just would not talk about. They would just sort of smile, nod their head, and say, "How about them Reds?"
Barry, I appreciate your call. Thank you for that. Well, yeah, I know that. My dad, for a brief time, worked over at the base, and I remember him saying that one of the first times he was there, he was being taken somewhere down a hallway, and all the doors were just slamming shut because they didn't want anybody looking in to see what they were up to. But yeah, I mean that is true. This is a prime area for that. I've had people call my show before and say that they saw something or that they saw a light or whatever it is. And that's what I'm trying to do on this show. I mean, I know my show is not Coast to Coast AM. I'm not George Norrie. I'm not going to talk about UFOs and Bigfoot and all of those different things, Loch Ness, whatever. It's not really my thing, but there's a passing interest in it. So, I'm also all about the community. So this event is great for our area. And I'm grateful that you guys were willing to come on the show and chat about it for a little bit.
We appreciate you having us.
Great. Yes, we appreciate.
So it's always fun to talk about.
Yeah. So hang tight. We're going to wrap up here in a moment. But there you go. We're talking about the Dayton UFO Conference happening on Saturday, July 11th. You can get details on their Facebook page, or you can find it at Eventbrite.
What am I listening to now?
What is this?
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst.
It's education, it's entertainment, it's fun for the entire family, and it is the most American thing in all of America.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
On so people can hear. I mentioned that with the fighter pilots, because if I meet some person on the street and they say, "Oh my God, I just saw this," okay, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, I don't know. But when you have qualified military fighter pilots who are as serious as the day is long,
trained observers,
who are trained observers, who have studied more than I could ever hope to study, about what they do, then suddenly it's like, well, wait a second now. We're not talking about some farmer out in the field who saw lights out in his, this is like, to me, that is legit. It's like, even if it's not aliens, it's something that needs to be discovered.
Absolutely.
It needs to be understood.
We're paying for it.
We're paying for it. And
Trillions.
you don't know that it's a threat. I will say this, it is a threat because you don't know what it is. You know?
You can't say it's not a threat or it is a threat because you don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is. Oh, I would argue that it is a threat because you don't know.
Sure.
Yes. Once you find out, then you can determine whether, maybe it's not a threat. But until then, you don't know what it is. So that to me is threatening.
These pilots, they don't know what's going behind the scenes again in the military industrial complex and the technology they have.
Right. Some people will claim it's nothing our military has. Well, these pilots aren't in the know. They're not read in.
Right.
They're not read in on all the programs. So there is that aspect of it. But the other aspect, what I challenge people now, because I think this is the most important topic of humanity, is if you do a deep dive into credible sources and you spend 3 good days, or let's just say 36 hours, and you do research and you listen to credible sources, the military, the whistleblowers that have come forth recently, the scientists, the intelligence officers that have come forward, there's no way that you will walk away and say, there's nothing here.
Right.
I mean, if you do,
and
I would question your how well of research you did.
Right. Yeah.
So
I critical thinking
oppose that to
abilities.
anyone.
Yeah.
In mentioning those pilots, I mentioned Dr. John Mack back in the 80s and 90s. Danny Sheehan was his attorney. He was a Harvard psychiatrist, and the military and intelligence were sending him these military people to do a psychological analysis on them. So that was part of the fear factor is, do you really want to report this UFO that you saw? Well, if you're going to, then we're going to send you and do a battery of psychological tests on you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John Mack did enough of those where he went from a skeptic and a non-believer to, my goodness, there's something here.
Right.
These people are sane and they're all reporting similar things. And then it transitioned into abductions. They were sending him people who were claiming to be abducted, and the same thing happened. They're not crazy. They are clinically sane, and they are all talking about the same things.
Wow. And also that's where Danny Sheehan comes in with this whistleblower, because they're, not to mention their pensions, their lives are threatened, their families' lives. So
they're all
I don't think most
NDAs.
of us would come forward.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing
fear.
too. Again, and I'm not trying to diminish the common person out there who has an experience, but there really is something to this when you have people at that level of A, authority, or B, notoriety, or however you want to phrase it.
They have a lot to lose.
They have a lot more to lose than somebody like me. They have so much more to lose, whether it's, like you said, Stephanie, your pensions, your job, your credibility, all these things, everything, so it's one thing to, kind of
Neil Tyson.
Neil deGrasse
Tyson.
Yes. Just came out, and he's kind of done a 180 because of the scientists that have been coming out with it.
And I've always kind of felt like that is where the rubber meets the road. When I had Dr. Mariah Mayor on the show, and she's the woman who's in Expedition Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
And she's a primatologist. And I had her on the show, and I asked her point blank. I said, "Do you believe?" And she says, "As of right now, no, but I'm open. I'm open to the idea." That's what I want to hear from somebody like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the guy that lives off on the ridge of the woods and hears wood knocking at night. They're out there, I'm telling you. No, that doesn't do me any good.
It's not scientific.
Right. Hang on, here we go.
I promise this will be fun.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Holst. Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7. Live stream is on Facebook and YouTube. Just a couple of moments left here with my guests, Mike and Stephanie Grable from the Dayton UFO Conference and Citizens for Disclosure. This is going to be a great event on Saturday, July 11th, out there in Fairborn at the Hilton Dayton Fairborn Conference Center for the Dayton UFO Conference. Any last words you guys would like to share? We've just got a couple of moments.
Oh, just remember the VIP meet and greet Friday night.
Yep.
Yeah, and if anyone's interested really in getting into this in helping us move the movement, the Citizens for Disclosure movement, we're always looking for volunteers.
We'll have a table there at the event as well. For Citizens for Disclosure. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing everyone at the conference.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good time, and I look forward to the future of it.
Me too. Oh
Man,
my gosh,
Stephanie,
me
I
too.
want people dressed up as aliens out there. That's
Let's
what I
do
want to
it.
see.
Let's do it.
That's what I want to see.
We might have a sighting. We might have a sighting.
We could do that. We could do that. I'll put on a little green
We
suit.
welcome it.
Maybe not a little green suit, but I've got a green suit.
Green.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go, folks. Thanks for listening tonight. I appreciate you as always. Don't forget, you can get the podcast of this show at eveningedgetodd.com. I'm also going to make this a Dark Edge podcast, so it'll be on there as well, so you can hear the whole thing, and because that's kind of in that realm, the Dark Edge. All right. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow just after 5 here on the Evening Edge.
That's it. We're done.
It's over already?
Yeah, should have been here sooner.
Game over! Sorry, guys, I gotta run, but there will be another show.
When?
Actually, I'll be back tomorrow.
Same crap, different day.
At least he's consistent.
Get